know that they've done something and they're hiding something. So this could save you thousands, hundreds, or even thousands of dollars. So that is something that you definitely want to do. Leaking down onto something hot, and it will give a distinctive smell. So you want to do the smell test inside, and you also want to do the smell test outside. I'll get home and I've bought it, and then I'll go 100 k's, and there's all these noises. Like there's rattle in the back, there's rattle in the front, water getting somewhere in the vehicle. It will smell damp. You'll be able to smell it. It will have that wet, soggy sort of dog smell. But there are no issues. But sometimes people can hide this, and you wouldn't know. 95% of you guys watching my videos are not subscribed. 95%! That's crazy. That's a crazy number. Now look, I'm not going to tell you to like and subscribe my channel. I'm not like everybody else. I do things differently, and that's just the way I am. But I will say this: if you have learned anything from my channel, if you have learned anything from my videos so far, if you have gained any value, if you have enjoyed my videos at all, do me just one small favor. At least even think about maybe subscribing to my channel. That would really help. You can say no, but if you do say yes, that would mean a lot, and it really help my channel grow, and I'll be able to pump out more content for you guys, be able to put more money into these videos, give you guys more value, and it would really mean a lot and help me out. Hey guys, over the years, well, in fact, over the last decade of buying and selling cars, I've made a heap of successful deals, and I've also made some mistakes. And in this video, I'm going to teach you my top tips for when inspecting a vehicle, so you don't make the same mistakes as me. I thought it would be cool to share with you my expert tips, so you guys don't buy a lemon, you buy right, and you don't make the same mistakes as me. So I haven't actually told anyone these. I am telling you guys my tips and secrets that I've learned over the last decade. So let's get into it. At number one, before you even go inspect the vehicle, you want to do online vehicle check, the money owing check. You want to make sure that there's no money on the vehicle. It's not owed money to a finance company. You want to make sure that it comes with a clear title. So even before you go, take the time, make the effort to go view it, make sure you do that online check, and you get the full history of the vehicle. You can see when it was imported, if it's been re-registered, how many owners it's got, real legitimate kilometers. You want to make sure all that stuff checks out, because you don't want to go there, purchase the vehicle, and then you find out after, oh no, it's got money owing, oh no, like it's got all these issues. So that is number one. You want to make sure you do your checks online. It only costs like $10 here in New Zealand. You can go to websites like Car Jam and Motor Vehicle, Motor Trader here in New Zealand. So wherever you are, make sure you find a local website that you can do a money owing check and vehicle title check for a car before you go buy it. So number two, when you go view a vehicle, you want to view it in the daytime. If you're going at nighttime, it can be hard to spot any potential issues on the body in the nighttime, in the dark. Can't view in the daytime. You want to take it to a petrol station, somewhere with good lighting, that you can see the body, you can see the paintwork, you can see any damages on the body, so you can make sure that you know what you're buying. In the daytime you can obviously a lot clearer. In the nighttime it is hard to spot those issues. If you can't, also bring a torch. You want a flashlight. Make sure you can see the body up close, any potential issues. It just makes the whole process a lot easier for inspecting the vehicle. So you want to try and view it in the daytime, not in the nighttime. But if you can't, go to somewhere with good lighting. So that's tip number two. Number three, when you get to the vehicle, is go over the vehicle. Make sure you inspect the outside first. Go over it, see what sort of potential issues. If there's paint fade, make sure you check the roof. A lot of times people forget to check the roof and might need a respray. There's one of the first places there is paint fade on a vehicle. You want to go around, make sure you can spot any sort of scratches, anything that's going to need to be repaired. So if you're looking to flip the vehicle, you want to make sure that you write down all of the issues on the car so you can get a good budget and know how much you need to spend. So if you see, oh yeah, that bumper needs a respray, there's got a dent in the back bumper, that's going to need to be fixed. You want to write this all down so you can calculate your purchase price, your margin, and then hopefully make some profit and make a decision if it's worth buying the vehicle. When it comes to inspecting inside the vehicle, you want to do something called a smell test. So that's tip number 3, is a smell test. So when you open up the car and you open up the boot, you want to give it a good sniff, you know, good sniff there. And the reason that you want to do this is because if there is a leak somewhere in the vehicle, there's water getting somewhere in the vehicle, it will smell damp. You'll be able to smell it. It will have that wet, soggy sort of dog smell. And that right there will indicate if there is water in the vehicle, if there's damp, if there's moisture inside the vehicle. And a lot of times a common place is the boot. So make sure you lift up that tray. And a lot of times when I've viewed cars in the past, there is water where the spare tire is. So that means there's water getting into the boot somewhere. And that is a potential issue that you're gonna have to take on. So you want to make sure that you get inside the car, you give it a good sniff, you do the smell test, and you check to see if the vehicle's dry or if it is wet. So tip number 4 is when you're going on the test drive. Now, when you go on the test drive, you want to make sure you can go on some open road. You don't want to take it around just on some like short urban streets. You want to get up to 100 kilometers. You want to get up to high speed, because sometimes in the past when I've taken a car on a really short trip just around town and I'm only going 50 or 60 kilometers an hour, I'll get home and I've bought it and then I'll go 100 k's and there's all these noises. Like there's a rattle in the back, there's a rattle in the front, and it's only really when you're going that high speed 100 kilometers on the motorway that you can hear these issues. And then once I've gone and done this, I'm like, oh, what's wrong now? Like, so I've made this mistake before. You want to take it out on some open road so you can hear any potential issues in the car. You want to turn the radio down so you can hear everything, so you can hear any little issues going on. So make sure you get up to 100 k's. Don't just take it around the block, because sometimes there will be issues that come up when you go in sort of full speed. You want to make sure that you give it with the owner's permission. If they're in the car, you can sort of redline the car. You want to get the engine working at high RPM. So a lot of the times when there are issues, if there are issues, they'll really only come out when the engine's really hot and you're giving it heaps. That's when you'll find out if there are any issues going on. So you want to make sure you're flat-footed in a safe environment to do so. You want to give it top speed, and that's a good way to sort of bring out any issues if there are any. So you definitely want to take it for a good drive and get up to top speed. And another thing when you are taking the test drive is you also want to take it in some urban streets around some tight corners. You want to go round in a circle in clockwise and anti-clockwise, and this way when you're turning the steering hard, you can actually hear, might be the CV joints, they'll start clicking. A lot of times if there are issues with the steering, you will hear them when you're doing sharp sort of 180 degree turns. So you want to make sure you put the wheels on full lock. You want to go around anti-clockwise and clockwise, turn hard, and then if it's clear, if you don't hear anything, you know the steering's all good, it should be all good. But sometimes in the past when I've done this, that you can actually hear a clicking noise and you know, okay, there's something wrong with the steering. There is. So that is another tip when doing a test drive. So once you've done the test drive, you've done all these checks, and it's time to inspect the rest of the vehicle. You want to open up the bonnet. You want to check the oil, lift the oil cap, and check if there's any white sort of moisture or white sort of substance. This will mean that water is getting into the oil, and this can often mean that there is a head gasket problem. So if you do see a white substance, yeah, it's definitely a red flag. Sometimes it can mean if the engine's been sitting a long time, that moisture has just sort of gotten in if it's parked outside. But if it is really murky, you can see a white substance in the oil, that means water is getting into the engine, and that is definitely a red flag. So you want to check the oil level, make sure it's at a good level and there's no water in there. You want to check the radiator, make sure that it's nice and green, it's got antifreeze in there. So it is okay if there is water, but antifreeze is better. The green stuff, sometimes it can be orange. You want to make sure that it's not bubbling, that there's air in the water, and that it looks good. But be careful when taking off the radiator cap. You probably want to do that before taking it for a test drive. So you want to get under the vehicle, you want to get under there with a torch or a light, and you want to inspect for leaks up in the engine bay. So get underneath there, get right in there. You know, you want to look everywhere, anywhere you can, keep the engine running, and really inspect under there for any leaks that you can find. Go around the engine bay with a torch and a light and just look around the outside of the engine, see if there's anything unusual, and if there are any sort of, there's oil leaking anywhere, if there's grease anywhere, any signs of wear and tear and potential issues that is going to cost you money. So another tip, number 5, is you want to, once you've done the test drive, you want to get someone or even the person that's selling the vehicle to rev the engine. So go around the back of the engine and get them to rev the car once it's in idle. This is a good way to see if there is any wear or tear with the engine, and if it is blowing white smoke or blue smoke. If it's blowing any type of smoke, this is a good way to find out. Get them to rev the engine, stand at the back of the car, and then you can see if there are any potential issues inside the engine, and this will give you a good indication if it's burning oil or if there's an issue with the combustion in the cylinders inside the engine. So white smoke or blue smoke definitely is not a good sign. So you want to rev that engine, make sure there's no smoke blowing, and this is a good way to find out. So tip number 6, that's 6, right? Is also the smell test again. And so once you're taking it for a good test drive, you've had a look underneath, you're inspecting sort of the outside, you want to sort of go around the engine and see if you can smell anything unusual. So if the engine is leaking oil and the oil is leaking down onto some hot pipes or some hot parts of the vehicle, you will get a certain type of smell from the oil burning. Now this is a good way to know if it is leaking oil. You will get a distinctive smell from the oil burning, and this is the same if it is leaking water. You will be able to smell the water leaking down onto something hot, and it will give a distinctive smell. So you want to do the smell test inside, and you also want to do the smell test outside. So walk around the outside of the car, under the engine, get a good sniff. If there's something unusual, that is a good sign that there is a leak somewhere. Now I've actually done this before. I mean, I've encountered several vehicles before where I can smell oil or water burning, and especially on a lot of turbo cars, there will be oil leaking from the turbo and it'll drip down onto the exhaust, and you'll be able to smell the oil burning. So you want to do the smell test inside and you want to do the smell test outside. So that's another pro tip for you guys when inspecting the vehicle. Right, I think we're up to tip number 7. So here's the next pro tip. Another thing that I've learned over the years is when you're finished, or even when you go to start the vehicle, or when you're finished coming your test drive, you want to turn the ignition on. Now you want to check on the dash if the check engine light comes up, because some people will find a way to disconnect certain wires and stuff to get rid of the engine light on the dash. That's possible, people do it, so the potential buyer doesn't know that there's a check engine light on. So sometimes in a car that's been done, you'll turn it on and it won't show a check engine light. So you want to turn the ignition, you want to check if that check engine light comes up. So it should come up when you turn the ignition on, and if there are no issues, then it will disappear. And that way you know that, yeah, the check engine light is working, but there are no issues. But sometimes people can hide this and you wouldn't know. So you turn the ignition on, see if the check engine light comes up, and if it disappears, that's great. But I actually have come across a few cars where the check engine light didn't actually come on at all, and then I know that they've done something and they're hiding something. So this could save you thousands, hundreds, or even thousands of dollars. So that is something that you definitely want to do. And if there is a check engine light, you want to have an OBD tool, a special tool to be able to plug in that you can scan and to find out what the engine light is. So this could also save you thousands. If you know at the time of viewing what exactly is wrong with the car, how much it could potentially cost. It could just be an O2 sensor, but it also could be something major. So you want to bring a special OBD tool to you with the viewing. So if there is a check engine light, you can find out on the spot what it is, and you can work out if it's viable to fix, how much it's going to cost. And it's also a good tactic to use as a negotiating tool. So if it's like an O2 sensor, it might cost couple of $100, and that way you can, hey, look, I don't actually know what's wrong here. It could cost me hundreds, it could cost me a lot of money. I've got to account for that in my price. I think it's fair if we take that down in the off the asking price. So it's a good tactic to use also in the negotiating process. So another pro tip there for you guys, bring that tool so you can find out what issue is going on with the engine. All right, I think we're up to pro number tip 8. I don't know, I'm just giving away tips like they're free. You know, these are my best kept secrets. I'm giving them to you guys for absolutely nothing. You know, I've made thousands, I've lost a bit of money, I broke even on a lot of deals, and I'm just sharing my tips with you guys. But you know, I want you guys to learn, I want to give you guys value in my videos, and if I can help just even one of you guys next time you are buying a car, then you know, it's all worth it. So another pro tip, I think we're up to number 8 or 9, is you want to check the tires for uneven wear. So when you check the tires, obviously it is always important to check the tires, check the tread depth. If it is low in tread and you need a whole set, that could cost you over $1,000. You know, that's something you've got to account for in your budget. So it's vitally important you check all the tires, but you also want to check for uneven wear. Now, if it's got uneven wear, that means it needs an alignment. It's pulling to one side, so it might be pulling to the left, it might be pulling to the right, and it needs a wheel alignment, and there's uneven wear on the tread. So maybe on the inside of the wheel, it might be worn more than the outside of the wheel. So that means that there's something going on with the suspension or other parts in the steering, and it will need a wheel alignment or even more. So you want to check for uneven tire wear. Make sure that the tires show even wear, and then that there's not any uneven wear, because there could be more issues. And now that's also another sort of tactic you could use to help grind the price down. Any issues that you can find, you want to try and get as much off the asking price. You know, no one wants to pay asking price, right? I want you guys to get the best deal. All right, it's all about getting it for as cheap as you can, finding something with the least amount of issues, and then flicking it for as much profit, or having as much capital or equity in the vehicle from your purchase price to your sale price. So those are my top expert tips for when inspecting a vehicle. Hopefully you guys learned something in this video. Let me know in the comments below if you did learn anything. Maybe you guys can add some value, or there's something maybe that I missed. Hopefully you guys can use some of these tips next time you are looking to purchase a vehicle and save yourself thousands. Don't make the mistakes that I did. Make sure you're not buying a lemon. Make sure you're buying something legit, clean, and doesn't gonna cost you money, and you can make thousands on your next deal. Now, I want you guys to go check out my next video here, and I'll see you in that one.